Welcome back to day 4 of our Lent readings for 2025 as we continue our theme of the Psalms. And today is the last reading for this week. There's no reading tomorrow. That's Sunday. That's the time to go to church. And then we'll begin again back on Monday. But for today, the last one of this week, we're going to be on Psalm 14. So let's read together. The fool says in his heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt, their deeds are vile. There is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. All have turned away. All have become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Do all these evildoers know nothing? They devour my people as though eating bread. They never call on the Lord. But there they are, overwhelmed with dread. For God is present in the company of the righteous. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel will come out of Zion, when the Lord restores his people. Let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. As Christians, we're called to the task of dealing with the intellectual challenges raised against Christianity. We call that apologetics. That should not be misunderstood as in some way giving an apology for what we believe. The Greek word apologia actually means to give a defence. In the area of apologetics, one of the main themes is giving a defence for the reasons to believe in the existence of God. But the Bible itself doesn't begin by offering any proof of the existence of God, and at no point tries to put forward an argument for God's existence. From the biblical perspective, as in this psalm, God's existence is so obvious that only a fool would question it. Though they may question who God is, or how many gods there are, almost every culture and civilization in the history of humanity, until only very recently, has agreed with this position. Almost all cultures have an understanding that there is something greater than themselves, and they have a word for it which we would usually translate from their language to ours as God. It is only recently that some people have tried to claim that the opposite is true, that the default position should be the non-existence of God. If you state a belief in God, such people will probably ask you to prove it scientifically. The reality is that they can no more prove scientifically their own position that God does not exist than ours that God does. Hence the wording on the atheist bus campaign back in 2009, which stated, "There's probably no God, now stop worrying and enjoy life." I admire the honesty of putting "probably" into that advert. Ironically, it probably led to more opportunities for discussion about the existence of God with non-believers than the vast majority of the church's own ideas. When you start to consider the world around us, denying the existence of God causes far more problems than it solves. We can explore the common arguments such as the fine-tuning of the universe. But at the end of the day, people who don't believe in God still experience existence, self-awareness, beauty, love, a sense of right and wrong, amongst many other things that still cause us to ask, who am I and why am I here? The biblical perspective on unbelief is laid out by Paul in Romans 1, 20-22. He writes that God has revealed himself to all through his creation. But people suppress the truth of this because they want to be independent of God. The Bible calls that sin. The fact that we don't accept God's existence doesn't show how enlightened we are, just how lost we are. The Bible teaches that God is the foundation stone for all living and thinking, and that his character is clearly visible throughout his creation, from mountains to morality, from creativity to constellations. God's existence is displayed in all things. His fingerprints are over all creation. Only a fool would deny it. Until next time, have a blessed day.